Hello, welcome back to episode 21, Writer's World Radio. I am your creative host, Matthew Graken. Thank you for coming back. Hope everyone's doing well. Your summer's coming along. If you're in the southern hemisphere, your winter's coming along. It's that time of year where it's hot and cold. Cold and hot, depending on where you are. Today, my pick comes, I'm going to be talking about another author today. And my pick comes out because of a certain movie that's coming out. But I'll get back to that movie later. But speaking of movies, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But do we know who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Some of you are sure are going, oh, me, I know which one. You in the back there. Others, we don't know. In fact, it was one of my favorite books growing up. I really like that book. And I like the earlier movie adaptation. The newer one, well, they took a different take on it. Not saying it's bad, just a different take. But if you're a fan of the book, most likely you'll be a fan of the original. So, who wrote it? Roald Dahl. Who? Roald Dahl. He was born September 13th, 1916, in Cardiff, Wales. Yes, the same Cardiff, Wales that they currently film Doctor Who at. He, during World War II, became involved with the Royal Air Force, the RAF. Became one of their flying aces, actually. He became very high ranked and an excellent pilot. He had a little bit of an injury, to the point where he wasn't able to fly. And Lord Balfour, the gentleman who became Lord Balfour, took him under his wing, kind of took fancy of him, and decided, hey, I want you to come to the United States with me and be one of our personal attachés in the embassy. So, nothing else to lose. Sure, why not? Dahl took a trip to the United States. He came in, worked at the embassy, part of the RAF. Over there, he became very fascinated with the United States. Culture, the people, the food. Very interested in it. But he hated his job. And I'm sure a lot of us can understand that. That wasn't exactly what he wanted to be doing. Though he did enjoy the social aspect, where he got to meet a lot of different people. He got to socialize with people that he wouldn't typically be able to socialize with or get close to. He played tennis with royalty and persons of name. Still not interested in exactly what he was doing. He actually got involved in the with a gentleman by the name of C.S. Forrester. Who was a journalist, and he was commissioned by a paper to find out the day in the life of an RAF pilot. So instead of just having a sit-down interview, Forrester said to Dahl, write down some stories. Write down some of your stories that you think would be good examples, and get them back to me. I'll rework them and submit them to the paper. So Dahl did this. He wrote down a bunch of stories of his time flying, some different things that he experienced, and Forrester was taken back. It was actually written very well. He was surprised by this. He didn't make any edits. He submitted it to his paper for Dahl, and the paper actually printed it. They paid him $1,000. This is during World War II. $1,000 could probably bought you a car, or most of a payment towards a car. $1,000 was a lot. I mean, even nowadays, most of us would probably be glad to make a short article and get paid $1,000 for it. But Dahl decided he titled this piece of work "A Piece of Cake." The paper and the editors, in all their wisdom, because we know the editors, they know best, changed it. They changed it, shot down over Libya. Though at no point was Dahl actually ever shot down. It never appeared in any of these stories and actually did not happen. Nonetheless, it attracted lots of writers. Actually, one of their best-selling. It was actually published by the Saturday Evening Post, August 1st, 1942, under the title "Shot Down Over Libya." So this was very popular for them, and this was his first taste of writing, and he liked it. So 1943 came around. He was back home in England and decided, I want to write a children's story. He wrote the book, The Gremlins. It was published in 1943. He is based on the superstition of RAF pilots that little gremlins would come along and mess up the engines or wreck the engines of their planes overnight while the pilots aren't looking. Instead of being built by British motor vehicles, if there's no oil under them, there's no oil in them, according to Mater from Cars 2. So this is his story. He wrote The Gremlins, and being that he had the connections back home, back in America, not at his home, my home, back in America, he sent a copy to the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, and she loved it. Became very popular. In fact, Walt Disney became very interested and purchased the movie rights. Unfortunately, he never made a movie of it, but as many things with Disney, no good idea goes untouched. I mean, think of Frozen. Walt Disney himself was involved with it, and we just came out with the movie a couple years ago. So, this was the first foray. This is what brought Dahl into the writing world. And like I formerly mentioned, he also brought us Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Another, movie, another fantastic book. Beyond that, and if you don't know the books, you may know the movies. Matilda was Dahl. James and the Giant Peach, Dahl, you guessed it. The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Twits, I don't believe that one's a movie. Neither is George's Marvelous Medicine, but more children's books by him. And the one that just came out by Steven Spielberg, the movie's by Steven Spielberg, the book is by Dahl, The BFG. Video gamers, it's not what you're thinking. It stands for The Big Friendly Giant.
Because the first thing you'd be doing, you'd be scuttling around and yodeling the news that you were actually seeing a giant.
I actually saw this book at my children's pediatrician. They have a book exchange, and the BFG was there, which is what connected me. I saw the trailers coming out, I saw the book, I saw who wrote the book, did a little research, and found out, I know who this guy is. I just didn't know who the guy was. Sadly, we lost Dahl November 23rd, 1990. Recent history, at least for me, it's recent. Some of you may not have been born yet. But his credits, his awards, I could spend a whole episode just on the awards that this man has won between science fiction, mystery writing, short stories, recognitions. Just an incredible author that, he may not have the recognition of Stephen King, Ernest Hemingway, some of these other ones, James Patterson. But his contributions to the writing, to the literal world is just remarkable. He even did adult books, adult fiction books. And not as recognized for them, but they're out there too. I would suggest taking a few moments looking this gentleman up and just diving into it. If you haven't already experienced some of his writing, delve into it. Either in the film or in the writing. Of course, I will suggest the writing, and then check out the films. But what are some of your favorite Dahl, either books or movies? Put them in the comments below. Hit us up on the Twitter or Facebook. Use hashtag Writers World Radio. Send out a message to me on Twitter about what's your favorite. Hey, I like this one. I'd rather the newer version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Send it to me on Twitter at Matthew J. Graken. Also, or you want to get a discussion, you could do it on Facebook if you're not into the Twitter at 142 characters. Facebook.com/Matthew J. Graken is the address there. Let's keep this conversation going. What are some authors you'd like me to discuss about? What were some of your favorite authors? Or what is a favorite book that you don't really know about that author? Kind of like me with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Send out the comments. I'm always looking for more ideas for future episodes. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope your 10 minutes of writing is coming along. If you haven't started your 10 minutes of writing, start today. What's holding you back? It's 10 minutes. 10 minutes is, probably the space between after dinner and before your favorite show starts. Or if you don't watch TV, just 10 minutes. It's not going to take long. But after a week of just working 10 minutes each day, you'd be amazed how far you've come along. If you need help writing, come up with ideas, brainstorming, hit me up, contact me. I'm always willing to help out. I'm helping out a friend right now with a screenplay of his, which I will be getting back to you on that. Just about finished reading that up and suggesting my feedback. I'm always available. Believe in yourself. You can do it. As an author, it's always difficult. Either you're insecure about your idea, you don't know where this idea will take you. Trust me, I've had some stories I've written that just like, it's not me, but it's what I wrote. And I've gotten great feedback from those. Just because you don't feel, you feel insecure about it, sometimes you've actually paid a little more attention to that writing than the ones that you were a little, that you didn't feel as insecure about. So trust in yourself and trust in others. Again, hope everyone's having a fantastic day. United States, happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July weekend. Canada, happy Canada Day, eh? And I hope everyone's doing well. Please make sure you share. Shout out to everyone that you're watching Writers World Radio. Let people know that it's out there. Make sure you put feedback. Hit the little like button if you're watching the YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you rate it. Put the 4 stars or whatever you feel it's worth. Put little comments down there. Let people know what you think of this podcast. And, the more people get involved, the more we can do. Until next time, I hope everyone, again, is doing well. I hope you're enjoying your summer or your winter, depending on which hemisphere you're in. Keep reading, keep writing, and I'll see you next time.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.